A one and a two and a chick-a-boom a chick.
Hi, Remodelers on the Rise community. It is Bailey. In this episode of Remodelers on the Rise, we're sharing Kyle's recent conversation with Curtis Lawson on the Your Project Shepherd podcast. They cover what it takes to run a remodeling business and why coaching, peer groups, and community matter in helping you achieve your goals. Let's jump in.
Hey friends, welcome to the Your Project Shepherd podcast. I, as always, am your faithful and loving and trustworthy host, Curtis Lawson. And joining me today on the podcast is my good friend, Kyle Hunt. Kyle is with Remodelers On The Rise. You can see his beautiful hat right there. Kyle and I...
If you're watching the video, do you see it? It's got a little sweat stain on it, actually. It looks like I actually do work.
We all know better.
I think that's from golfing last week, actually.
So Kyle and I met, he has a Facebook group called Remodelers Community. And when I first joined Remodelers Community, I don't know how I found it. I think I was just like searching remodelers groups or construction groups on Facebook. And I stumbled across this group called Remodelers Community. And I saw that there were a couple guys in there that I already knew who were members of the group. So I joined it. And I kind of started watching a little bit, and there was some good information going back and forth. And then I saw Kyle promoted doing kind of an email marketing campaign. You know, you could sign up, and he'd send some email newsletters out for you. So I signed up for that. I thought that was pretty cool. And then the more I started paying attention, he's doing all these different things regarding, you know, coaching and VIP clubs and all this kind of stuff. And I said, yeah, this is pretty cool. He has a good thing going on here. So I've gotten just more and more involved with Kyle and the organization, and excited to say that I'm starting to coach one of the peer groups, which is my group is starting this month. So I'm really excited about that. So anyway, that was my big, long intro to Kyle. And now I'm going to let Kyle say hello, and Kyle is going to tell you all about what he does, actually, because I'm still not quite sure. But Kyle, tell us all what you do.
I've always enjoyed my wife explaining it over the years, especially early on. Like we'd be out with another couple, and what do you do, Kyle? And I'd be like, Sarah, go ahead and give it a shot. And her answers improved over the years. Your answer was good. Your setup was good. As far as how long I've been doing it, it's been about 17 years. I started my business. I had worked for a remodeler, graduated college, through this little other entrepreneurial thing I was doing, ended up getting connected with a gentleman who ran a remodeling company and a plumbing, heating, cooling company, and started working for him, taking care of marketing and advertising, and started managing their showroom and their 4 designers, started getting involved on the financial side of the business. And in 2008, I turned to my wife and I said, honey, we got no money in the bank. It's a really crappy economy, especially here in Michigan, 2008. We got one kid, another one on the way. I want to quit my job and start my own business. To which she said, oh, of course. That story seems to have changed over the years too. But I've always kind of been entrepreneurial, and the real origin, I really started my business really focused on marketing in particular. And it was shortly after I really kicked things off where I said, you know what, I'm not going to be all things to all people. I'd been working for a remodeling company. I really liked the industry and knew the industry. And I kind of put my flag in the ground and said, you know what, I'm going to offer kind of my marketing and sales and this approach to remodelers, and started going around to different home builder associations around the state of Michigan and picked up a few clients, ended up guest speaking at the International Builder Show kind of fairly early on. And over the years, it's kind of gone from just offering coaching related to marketing to more overall business coaching for remodelers. The way I would best explain it is, if you are a remodeler listening to this, some of you, most of you, your skills when it comes to doing the work and delivering a beautiful project is quite high. and your business skills, your understanding of your financials, your marketing system, your sales system, your leadership skills oftentimes aren't really up to the level that your building and remodeling skills are. And my job in our company, what we do is really help you get your business skills up to the level of your building and remodeling skills. Because when we elevate the business side, all of a sudden we start making more money. And our stress levels can improve and our workload can improve, and we have a system for marketing, a system for sales. So that in a nutshell is what I do. And you were kind of explaining it around, we do some group-based coaching, we have peer groups, we've done a lot of one-on-one coaching over the years, and here I am in July 2025, and I can say I love what I do.
And we love you doing it.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
So give us a quick plug. We have a conference coming up here in a couple weeks, which we have a few seats left for, and I know we would love to get some people in those seats.
Yeah.
So tell everybody what's happening here in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Yes. First annual Rise conference. We've got a good group of people coming in from around the fruited plains. We've got a good number of guest speakers, and myself. Curtis is going to be doing a session, and we've done a variety of events over the years, and this one is around kind of ideas, inspiration, and implementation. I think a lot of you are just running and gunning, day in and day out, week in and week out. And there's few things better for your business and frankly for you personally than to step back from your business for a few days, get immersed in ideas and inspiration and conversation with your peers, and leaving that having a very clear plan of coming back and implementing improvements into your business. So it's up in Ann Arbor, Michigan. It's on August 5th and 6th, 2025. And if you go to remodellersontherise.com/rise, you can see the details and come on and buy a ticket.
And it's not just for the business owners, right? Like
Correct.
You can bring some key staff people. I mean, I'm personally bringing like 4 or 5 people because there's breakout sessions that I think a lot of different team members can get some value out of, right?
Yeah, we've got a lot of production folks coming, production managers. We've got a lot of designers, some office managers. That also is pretty invaluable when you're able to go to some training and bring some team members with you, and everybody kind of experiences it and goes to breakout sessions specifically around their world. That can really help speed up the implementation and improvement in the business. Oh, it's so sad. Some people are probably listening to this and it's August 10th and they're like, well, you can come to the second annual Rise conference in 2026.
That's right. I think sometimes when we as business owners go to these conferences, like we come back really energized, and our team members are like, oh, he keeps going away to these things. He comes back all perky, all these great big ideas, and he shoves all these ideas on us, right? So I like the idea of also some team members going too, so they can get excited and kind of be on the same on the same wavelength that we as business owners are on.
Yeah. Have your team members actually called you perky before, Curtis?
I've never been called perky in my life.
But hypothetically, some business owners come back and they're like, man, you're all perky, you're all excited. But that's absolutely the case. And the emphasis also, whether you're listening to podcasts, whether you go to some local training, whether you had a really good conversation with a peer of yours or a colleague of yours, whether you go to a conference, there's definitely a correlation between when you're perky, when you're fired up, when you're clear on what the next step is. You got to strike while that energy and excitement is high and that clarity is high. Because as you come back, and that's why I'm always focused in my coaching on implementation and, all right, what's our clear next step that we're actually going to do? Because as day by day goes by and week by week goes by, that energy and perky and excitement kind of starts going down, and then you're back to, okay, I've got to do this estimate, I've got to check on this, I've got to order this material. So as you're getting inspired in whatever way, maybe even listening to an audiobook, reading a book. Do people still read actual physical books?
I do.
Oh, I do too. There's just, strike while the iron's hot there is really important, and get clear on what's my next right thing to do.
Absolutely. And by the way, I would be wearing my Remodelers on the Rise hat and shirt, but somebody hasn't mailed it to me yet.
Oh, mercy. Oh, mercy. Mercy.
Time to get on Bailey or Cassie, whoever's job that was. Come on, let's go.
Swag for Curtis. So I just sent a text message to Bailey, and I said swag for Curtis ! And then I wrote blitz. We do a thing called a blitz meeting where, and this is an idea for people listening to this. If you have kind of a right-hand person, an office manager, an assistant of some sort, as I go through my day and my week, if I have an email that, okay, I need to respond to that, I actually want Bailey to take care of that, I'll just forward it and write blitz. Or I'll shoot her a text and say, hey, blitz, I need to talk about this topic. And a couple times a week, we do a 30-minute blitz meeting where she's lined up all the topics, and it just really helps us kind of speed things up versus let me call her because I want to talk about this. Let me interrupt her and interrupt my day by calling this. It allows us to kind of batch that. I think it's a really good best practice when you're working with team members.
Yeah. Is that from the football term blitz? Like blitz. We're out rushing the quarterback.
The good book says there's nothing new under the sun, and I don't know exactly where I got that. Like most all of our good ideas, it's either an iteration of something or I swiped it from somewhere. But yeah, it makes sense. It definitely has it's got some pizzazz to it. It's got some perkiness to it. That's going to be our word of the day.
Well, you are always Mr. Perky, and I strive to be as perky as you someday.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, so what I wanted to talk about today was how remodelers can use what you do, and whether it's you or whether it's getting plugged in with another group, organization, whatever, although of course we want them to be part of Remodelers on the Rise, but it's about the value of coaching, peer groups, training to take people's businesses to the next level. Because, Kyle, did we start off in business to struggle and work long hours and to be grumpy all the time and have a tough life?
No, sir.
We did not. I'm pretty sure we all started off in business to make money and have freedom, provide for our families, have flexibility in our schedules and independence, kind of whatever you want to call the entrepreneurial life. So we all started off with a big dream or vision. So for this discussion, I kind of wanted to break it down into two categories of people, and this is just my observation over the years. You can tell me if you agree or disagree, but
disagree.
I think.
Sorry. Go ahead.
That was fast.
Go ahead.
So I think there's one category of builder, contractor, or maybe just business owners in general, right? I think this applies to a lot of different industries, but there are people who kind of strike out on business on their own. And maybe they went to business school or they have some formal training or whatever, but they get in there and they just kind of get it, right? They get the financials, they get the operations side, they have leadership skills, but they just kind of get it from the beginning, right? And so those kind of people are probably looking for maybe something a little bit different. They're looking maybe just to kind of take their business to the next level or kind of fine tune their systems, right? Versus the other category of people are, I think what we encounter a lot in the remodeling contracting world, and that's folks who have more of a blue collar background. Maybe they've started in the trades, they've started off kind of wearing the bags, they've worked their way up from maybe cleaning job sites to carpenter to assistant project manager to project manager, and now I want to go out on my own and start my own business. And so they know how to do the work. Like they know how to remodel that kitchen. They could probably do the whole thing themselves with a set of tools out of their truck. But when it comes to actually running the business side of things, a lot of times they don't know what to charge. They don't understand their numbers. They don't kind of know how to hire a team, all those kinds of things, right? So those folks are starting to get burnt out. Maybe thinking about quitting, hanging it up, or they just kind of lose the fire over the years. So is that a valid assessment in your opinion?
Yes. And I think there's kind of that, and then there's a little bit of a spectrum in between all those. Now, the first group that you talked about, little bit more of a unicorn to find them kind of plop down into a business and voila, I've got this kind of sorted out. But that definitely is, there's some business owners who have had a bit of a career. Maybe they have served in some leadership roles before they've started their business. Maybe they've just had another 10, 15, 20 years of business experience. There's a decent number of my clients who even have like a financial and accounting background. I'm thinking of Peter Rainey. Like he started a remodeling business and he was a CPA and a financial guy. So they come in different shapes and forms. firms. And yes, if you are coming with some, I just kind of get this and I've got the experience there, there's a lot of foundational pieces in place. And, we're kind of just taking all these different dials in our business and just kind of making some little tweaks to it. Okay, we can improve that one. We can improve that one. And, in business, that's the enjoyable thing about business. There's always things to improve. And then the other group you're talking about, all right, you know what? I can do this better myself. I'm leaving this job and I'm starting my own thing. And there's a little bit of that in me, where especially the naiveness. When I started my business, I was 24, 25. Oh baby, if I knew what I was actually getting into, I don't think I would have taken the leap. Luckily, I was naive and optimistic and thinking, this is going to be a cinch. I remember for the first few years, my wife kind of going, wasn't it just easier when you had a regular job? And I remember thinking to myself after a little while, I'm like, I don't think she's asked me that for a few months. Maybe I'm onto something here. But getting a business started is a big haul, is a big jump. And I think there's a lot of people in that second category that have the building skills and really struggle with the business skills and sit there and go, I don't know where the money's going, and it's money in, money out. And if I charged more, I don't think I would sign work. And, I've been so busy in the field that I haven't been taking care of that new estimate and lining up the next work. Oh crap, I got all of that. There's people nodding their head going, yeah, I've been there. And for those folks, they've really got to get foundational pieces in place.
Yeah, it's interesting in the Facebook group, the Remodelers Community Facebook group. We see all kinds of questions. I kind of skim that group every day and try to respond when I can. But we see really basic questions sometimes, like how do I hire my very first employee? How do I I'm losing money. How do I improve my my margins? And then there's really advanced stuff. You got Paul McManus on there talking about creating custom chat GPTs to do all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So there's this big spectrum of questions that come in on this group. But one of the things I love about that group is that everybody helps. There's this great, it's just a great community of people wanting to help everybody rise and elevate and soar and thrive.
Mm-hmm.
See what I did there?
I did see what you did there. For those of you wondering, all of our peer group names have kind of those vibes to it. So Curtis is going to be leading and coaching one of our peer groups, and his is Thrive.
Thrive.
I like it.
Yep. And I got to hang out with the Elevate group here a month or so ago too. So
up in Dayton.
Yep. They all have these very uplifting names.
Yes, the play off of the Rise name. Yeah, and I think sometimes people, one thing I've noticed over the years is it's easy to get down on yourself, especially if you're being surrounded by people who really have a lot of their crap together and their business is humming along, and you sit there, and comparison can absolutely, like old Teddy Roosevelt said, can be the thief of joy. It can also be very motivating, but if you're listening to this and you're kind of like, oh, those people have it figured out and that guy has it figured out, sometimes you also have to step back and go, oh wait, they've been at this another 15 years longer than me. Where am I going to be at in my business in 15 years as I continue to make incremental improvements? So keep that in mind. And again, I said it earlier, but what is the next right thing to work on? And what I have found over the years is if you are feeling pretty scattered in your business and you're not really knowing what to do next, a lot of times that's going to tie back into the financials. And some of you listening to this are avoiding the financials because you don't like it. It doesn't come natural to you. It stresses you out, and you need to lean in and start figuring out how to understand and know your numbers, or else I guarantee this is somebody not pontificating like I think this might be the case. I have been coaching for 17 years. I have worked with hundreds of remodelers. And if you think you're not going to understand your numbers and know your numbers and be able to explain to anybody who asks how total revenue and cost of goods sold and gross profit and the difference between markup and margin and job costing and slippage and grippage and overhead expenses and net profit, You think you're not going to be able to understand that, explain it, and be successful in your remodeling business? I'm sorry, but you're not. You've got to lean into that area that's difficult and challenging, and you can absolutely do it. It's not as hard as you might imagine it to be, and it is an incredibly important unlock to feeling in control of your business and to being able to start investing in your business, to delegate some work, to know when it's time to bring somebody on, to being able to invest in some marketing efforts. So that's for that second group who might be struggling in that area.
It's not rocket surgery, as they say.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
I talked pretty fast in there, though, to emphasize it.
Yeah, I liked it. And you elevated your voice, too. That's great.
Have you ever hung around a group of people and at the end of the night said, you know what, that actually gave me energy versus draining your energy? That's what you can expect at the Rise Conference. Yes, at the end of the day, you might be a little bit tired, but it's going to be a good tired because you're going to be filled with relationship. You're going to be filled with ideas. Your mind is going to be buzzing with inspiration on how you can continue to improve your remodeling business. Not only that, but I'm excited that the friendships that will either start or strengthen through the Rise Conference will be happening in a meaningful way. Our Rise Conference is coming up on August 5th and 6th. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very focused and intentional. We've got a lot of wonderful things planned, and there's going to be a great group of remodelers coming in from around the country, maybe around the world. I don't know who's going to sign up, but for sure, across the fruited plains, you want to be there. Join us.
So, I was definitely one of those people who had no handle on any of that stuff. I've been very open and honest about that. I've had some major struggles in the past, and it was actually joining a peer group like the ones that we have put together, that Kyle has put together, that I'm now a part of. It was being a part of that group that is the reason that I'm still here today. Absolutely, I give all the credit to Bob Peterson and Robert Wood and Elliot Pike and Sean Beliveau, all those people that were in that group with me through NAHB, same type of group. Yep. But they, I didn't know any of this stuff. I came into the construction world by chance almost, and I thought it was fun. I'm a creative person. I like being creative. Creative people are not always the best people with money, and so I just kind of wandered through the world for the first 15 years that I was in business. And it wasn't until that I joined this group that I got cracked upside the head and was like, Curtis, you do good work, but you don't know what you're doing business wise. Yeah. Right. And so, and what I learned to your point about, you see these people with successful businesses and you think everything's always been hunky dory for them. I found out that some of those people who were making a lot more money than me, who were very successful, from being in this group, I found out, oh yeah, he actually declared bankruptcy 15 years ago. And that other guy was almost out of business 10 years ago. And this guy has struggled with this. So we've all had these universal struggles. There's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing, there's no situation or problem that's unique to you, probably, that we can't work through as a group, encourage you, help you get the systems in place, and get you back on track.
And from a coaching standpoint in particular, so Curtis, what you're talking about are Builder 20 and Remodeler 20 groups through the NAHB. If you're part of an NAHB, there's Builder 20 and Remodeler 20 groups. They have a certain cadence to them, they've got in-person components to it that they've been around for a long time. You have organizations like Remodelers Advantage. They've been around for 25+ years or however long it's been, in-person retreats and coaching. You've got guys like Tom Reber. Certain people gravitate towards him and his in-your-face approach. You got guys like Sean Van Dyke, super analytical, very systems guy. You got a company like Remodelers On The Rise who does group coaching and one-on-one and peer groups. You rewind the clock to the 80s or the 70s. My grandpa was a contractor in the 60s and 70s. Man, I don't know how to do this business thing. He didn't have any of these resources. Mm-hmm. Hopefully he had a colleague local to him that took him under his wing to teach him these things. My other grandpa was a painter. I don't know. What do I charge? I don't know. I got to figure this out. running a business here in 2025, there is a incredible amount of resources, frankly, almost an overwhelming amount of coaching resources. I've been in the gig for a little while. I'm like, oh, there's another remodeler who's now a coach. Oh, there's another coach. They come and go, and there's a lot of good resources out there. So hopefully, you're asking about how does coaching work? How do you get involved in it? There's a lot of resources out there. I'm happy to talk through those resources, happy to share how Remodelers on the Rise works and different factors. But there's a lot of free options. Go to remodelerscommunity.com, start asking questions. Go on YouTube and start searching some of the challenges you're having. You're going to see some great trainings. Shoot me an email, Kyle@remodelersontherise.com. Ask me a question and test me to see if you get a response back. One of our core values at our business is RISE. The S stands for serve. And I work really hard. If somebody reaches out to me, they've listened to my podcast, they've heard me on a podcast like this, reach out, ask questions. Go to your next HBA meeting and have the NARI meeting and be brave and go ask that competitor, quote unquote competitor, that you look up to, if you can take them out for lunch and pay for the lunch and ask questions. People are generous in this industry. And then if you move forward and say, you know what, I need to invest in some coaching, a structured program, again, there's a lot of options for that. So coaching can be a huge way to speed up the learning curve. You don't have to go through this alone. There's a lot of options there. Some the good ones do cost money, but the way I look at coaching is, if you are involved in coaching in one of my groups, my goal is whatever dollar you put in, it's going to come back to you in the first year or two 10x, 10 times. And
Absolutely.
let alone you fix things in your business, whether it's your estimating, whether it's your pricing, whether it's your job costing. The beautiful thing when you fix problems in your business is, yes, it starts making you and saving you money quickly, but it also, in the next 20 years of your career, you've patched that hole, you've fixed that thing, and you're going to see the return and the ROI project after project after project. So, don't try to figure this all out on your own, especially in 2025. There's so many resources.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many free resources out there, even,
Absolutely.
books, YouTube, all kinds of stuff. I think what makes, paying for coaching or paying to be in a peer group different is sometimes that little bit of pain, spending that little bit of money, motivates you to follow through on it, right? Whereas if you buy a $14 paperback book, or if you watch a free YouTube video, it's like, that was cool. Yeah, just going on about my day. But if you're spending, a decent chunk of money, investing it in a coach, investing it in a peer group, you're motivated to do something, and you get an accountability partner as well.
Yes.
You get somebody who's going to check in on you. That YouTube guy is not going to check in on you. The author of the book's not going to check in on you, right? So Kyle's going to check in on you, hold you accountable. Your peers in your group, we have accountability partners. We have monthly Zoom calls. We have quarterly one-on-one calls. We have all these accountability methods that are going to not only hold you accountable, but encourage you and cheer you on and celebrate your wins too.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this and you're like, I'll just figure out my own. You absolutely can. It just might take a little longer. Sometimes you don't see the forest for the trees, or when you have a coach who's been there, done that. Like in my case, somebody will come to me with a problem, and I've already answered this question a few hundred times. I've seen it in action. I've seen how people implement it. That can really speed it up. Can I do a visual demo of coaching?
Absolutely.
I'm working from home today because it's summertime. So if you're watching the video version, congratulations. If you're not, well, that's trouble. So I really love golfing, Curtis. Love golfing. We had the dark years of golfing where the 4 kids were, younger, and I didn't golf at all. But now we're back in a little bit of the glory days of golfing. And
I hear that you've never been defeated by a peer group member either.
Any client of mine, and also this goes back to my original boss. I did my interview on a golf course. Some people might say, well, let him win. No, that's not how we roll. Matt Jenkins, if Matt Jenkins listened to this, in a few weeks, he is taking me on 18 holes, and he is very optimistic. The part of the reason he's very optimistic about defeating me is because early this year, I was hitting the ball all over the place. It was going right. It was going left. It was uncharacteristic. I just was playing like crazy. And I said, you know what? I need to take a golf lesson. And we were up in northern Michigan, and I paid $100 or whatever it was to get a lesson. And this coach watched me hit 3 shots, and then he said, "All right, I got you figured out. My grip is like this on my left hand." He goes, "Make it strong, turn it like that. It feels weird, doesn't it? Holding the club like that, it feels weird." I'm like, "Yeah, it does. It feels super weird." He goes, "Just try it." And for whatever reason, that little that shift from this to this, the entire path of the ball and the way the ball was going, it went from slicey mostly to straight, even a draw. If you're a golf nerd listening to this, I hadn't hit a draw in 25 years, ever since I started. And eyes from the outside that's very experienced had me measured up and knew what little tweak to make the biggest impact. He could have given me 25 different tips. This one, do that, work on that. It feels weird. I want it nice and strong. It changes the path and everything. And it has been working beautifully so far. Now that I've mentioned it, it probably will regress and not work for me. But that's coaching. That's an outside eye, whether it be free coaching, paid coaching, one-on-one coaching, group-based coaching. Do not be shy about that. I can look at my business similar to the way you just did, Curtis, and the peer groups and the coaching that I have been involved in. I can directly see the impact it's had on my business. I wouldn't nearly have the business I have now, or I'd be way earlier in the process if I was trying to figure this out on my own.
But the follow through on the part of the coachee is a huge component of that. If your coach had told you to rotate your left wrist, and you did it just during the lesson to make him happy, and then you went back to your playing on your own, and you're like, I don't need to do that, and just turned your wrist back the other way, would it have helped you? No. So part of this is would I
still have defeated any current or former client that plays me in golf? Yes, because I'm stubborn and I'm competitive. But it would not have helped me overall.
That's right. So again, one of the great things is when you're involved in either a coaching relationship or a peer group relationship, it's the follow through. It's someone's going to check back on you in a couple weeks or once a month and say, "Hey, did you actually do that thing we talked about?" No. Oh, well, why do you think your business hasn't gotten better, right?
Yep.
Or did you do that one thing? Yes. Did your business get better? Yes. Wow. It's amazing, isn't it? Right. So it's the follow through, and it's the encouragement, and it's the accountability that makes as much of a difference as the actual coaching itself, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
So what are the most common struggles that you see contractors, remodelers in general facing?
Numbers. If you're unclear with understanding your profit and loss statement, or your profit and loss statement isn't set up correctly, that's a problem. If you don't understand the difference between markup and margin, that's a problem, and very common. If you aren't doing your job costing, and you can't tell me this is what my expected cost for the project is, and this is my actual cost. If you can't tell me with pretty clear understanding of that, and say, you know what, this project cost $600 more than I was expecting, and here's why. I didn't get a fixed price for my plumber. The bill ended up being $400 more. I estimated X amount of hours and time for demo, and it ended up taking us more. If you aren't able to do that, it makes it very difficult to improve your estimating and to improve your overall financial performance. So common struggle, very unclear with numbers and not understanding the overall numbers. It is tricky. You've got your job by job numbers. You've got your overall business health and financials of understanding how overhead fits into that, and net profit and owner compensation. That's a common struggle. And there's nothing I love more in my career and in my business than helping remodelers understand their numbers and seeing the light bulbs go off and go, oh, that makes more sense. That is some of my most enjoyable work that I do, because I know that light bulb, more than pretty much any other light bulb you can kind of have turn on in your business, has the most bang for the buck and will reduce stress and will improve your life. I don't want to be dramatic with that, but when money's tight, when money's coming in and out, when we have financial stress, it absolutely affects your marriage. it absolutely affects your time with significant others or your children. It absolutely affects the way that you're able to go about and live your life. And going back to the top of what you mentioned earlier, we are starting our businesses so that it can support the life that we dream of or that we just want to live. And often, so often as business owners, the business takes over our lives, and we need to fix that. We don't need to live with that. And oftentimes with remodelers, I see the first area and the common struggle is around numbers. And when we can start to improve that and see that, understand that, that's a huge unlock. So that's probably the number one and number two and number three common struggle that I would want to emphasize. After that, I would say, do you want some more?
Yeah. What's number four?
Number four. So 1, 2, 3 was financials. Number four, I would put around the sales process, where you are kind of just shooting from the hip. You're not, as a remodeler, charging for design and project development, so you're not digging into the details like you need early in the process, versus I'm charging for design and project development and protecting my time. And because I'm doing that, I'm getting the design way more detailed. I'm getting the scope of work way more detailed. I'm squashing allowances and getting selections for the most part all up front. And the positive ripple effect of the project going smoother and on time and on budget and the client experience going smoother is a direct result of an improved sales process. So that transformation of improving that area of the business is another common struggle and another huge dial to turn to really improve not only the business but life. So that side of things. Do you want another one?
What's number five?
Comment. Number five. I'm going to do 6 total. Number 5.
Okay, do 6.
Number 5 would be common struggle around marketing. A lot of people don't love marketing. They're like, necessary evil, whatever. And if you're wanting to go about your business and you're wanting to kind of keep it the same size, and you've been in business a decent number of years, chances are you'll be just fine and dandy from doing a great job for clients, getting repeat work, getting some referrals, and marketing. We'll just set it off to the side. But if you are new in business and or have desire to grow your business, you've got to take marketing by the horns and really invest in it and really get a marketing system going.
So especially for companies who are doing kitchen and bath remodeling or small projects, it's absolutely a numbers game. Like you need to figure out, it's simple math based on the revenue that you need to do, your average project size, how many projects a year that you need to do, and then how many leads do you need to get that number of project? What's your close rate on the leads, right?
Yep.
People who do really big projects might only need 4 or 5, 6 projects for the whole year, whereas people who do a bunch of bathroom remodels might need 40 projects a year, right? Yep. So it's understanding the quantity of leads that you need, and then where am I going to get those leads from?
Absolutely. Curtis, I don't mean to be presumptuous, but you should have me back on the old Your Project Shepherd podcast, and we can do it all on marketing.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Tell your producer over there.
Hey, Francis, Kyle says we need to do another one of these just on marketing.
Put me in, coach.
He said, put me in, coach.
Put me in, coach.
I'm ready to play. All right.
How about them? Speaking of baseball and that song, how about them Tigers?
How about them Astros, baby?
Ugh.
Astros are killing it right now.
I mean, the Tigers are the best team in baseball here at the All-Star break. How do you feel about your former coach and our current coach, AJ Hinch? What do you think of that whole cheating scandal back in the day where they're hitting the drums and stuff and tipping pitches?
First of all, I think AJ Hinch is like one of the best coaches in baseball. I think he's an awesome coach. Yeah. Great guy. I think that whole thing was blown way out of proportion. I think a lot of teams had been doing a lot of sketchy stuff for years, and the Astros happened to be the ones that kind of got nailed for it. And were they doing it? Yeah, sure they were doing it. But I think that there were a lot of teams doing the same, or not the same thing, but something similar. And, we just got to be the scapegoats.
There we go. So, hey, in the comments of wherever you watch this podcast or in your reviews of your Project Shepherd, if you vehemently disagree with Curtis Lawson downplaying his Houston Astros cheating, and you have thoughts on that, go ahead and comment and post and share your reviews. And let's change the title of this to "Did the Houston Astros Cheat to Get Our Views and Listens Up?"
That's a great idea.
I would
And
never do that on my podcast because I'm very non-confrontational. But on yours, let's get some bitterness going and get some shares going.
Just to be clear, like I said, yes, they cheated, but I also said, hey, everybody else is doing the same kind of crap. So
yes. Sounds like a child going, well, yeah, I drank at that party, but everyone else was doing it.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Kind of like the steroid era too. I mean, the guys, they were doing steroids, but they were all doing steroids. So
One more baseball nugget, because you asked me some origin story earlier, and my first business was buying and selling baseball cards online. MajorLeagueCards.com back in the day.
All right.
I've always had the little side hustle going.
I'll bring my suitcase full of 80s baseball cards with us to Rise conference, and you can look at them and tell me what's worth anything. And
very cool.
Maybe I'll sell them finally. All right,
Cool.
We said 6, or you said 6. What's number 6?
Number 6 is around leadership. Common struggle is leadership. A lot of business owners, and this is one, even in that first group of folks who kind of get it, they might get it in a lot of areas. Leadership is an area that, as you establish your business, as you even hire your first person, let alone if you have 7 people working for you or 10 people, more and more as you grow your business and you hand more responsibilities off and you wear a little bit less number of hats, leadership becomes more and more important, and it is an infinitely complicated, infinitely wonderful, infinitely challenging area of business. A common struggle is just not understanding how to lead people well. How do I motivate them? How do I encourage them? How do I balance the honey of encouraging with the vinegar of a little accountability and pushing them to improve? How do I keep people that might not be getting along super well and keep the team united? How do I build a company culture that people really rally around and love working for this company and have some pride in working for this company? So that's a common struggle early on of just some basic leadership skills, and then ongoing, it's an area that is, like I said, kind of very, very complex / really rewarding when you really lean into leadership, learn how to lead well, doing one-on-one meetings, really being an encouragement, building a company culture. It's a really cool area of business as well.
I'd say that's kind of where I'm at right now in my personal journey. That's my kind of my current growth area. I've spent a lot of money on books in the last few months. But we've been really fortunate. We've kind of grown, crafted to the point where we have a great team. We have kind of a great program going on here, and I just hired kind of my last key position to take the one last thing away that I was really doing in the business, which was sales. And now I'm trying to step more into that coach leadership role for the company, and it's a lot more complicated than the other stuff that I was doing before. I thought sales and estimating, all that stuff was complicated and nobody could replace me in that, but really the leadership portion of that is the hardest thing to do, for sure.
I would, early on in my business, I'd gone the route of like hiring somebody in the Philippines, like some virtual assistant stuff, and then finally hired kind of a part-time 20-hour a week person stateside. Bailey's been with me for 6+ years, and early on in my business, or even 10 years into my business, I was like, nah, I don't want to have team members. It's just going to complicate things, cost more money. I'm just going to do this. And I always had kind of a negative attitude about it. So Bailey's now full-time for the last good number of years. Cassie is full-time with us. We got a bookkeeper. We got now even having 3 coaches who are running some peer groups. And I love having team members. I love the challenge of it. I love trying really hard to make it a really enjoyable place to work. I see a direct correlation between if they feel well compensated and well heard and well trained and are contributing in their giftings, that they do really great work for team members. I've been able to do more creative things with my marketing, with sales process, and just frankly been able to expand my business a bit and hand off responsibilities that I have. it can be a really rewarding area of business. And if you're in that first group that Curtis you had mentioned, where you've got a business established and you're making good money and things are good, yeah, that next horizon is to really continue to build out, similar to where you're at right now, to really become proficient and really enjoy the process of leading people. I would encourage people to lean into that.
I think a lot of those people are still the guys that are working 50 or 60 hours a week too. You know, they're 50 years old plus, they're working 50 plus hours a week, and that's honestly not sustainable. You have to get to the point to where you have converted into more of a leadership coaching role and cut your hours back to where you can, you know, at this point in your life, you know, hopefully live that life that you dreamed of, and maybe work 40, 30, 20 hours a week on your business instead of grinding it out for 50 or 60 hours a week.
Yeah. There's one thing I love about our business and industry in general is there's a lot of ways to do this. There's some people that are like, this is how you have to do. You have to have a showroom. You have to do it. No, there's all kinds of different ways to price your work and transparency or one price at the bottom. There's ways to build a $4 million business with 0 field team members. There's ways to build a $3 million business with 8 field team members. There's so many different ways to go about building a remodeling and construction business. So even what you were describing there, yeah, maybe that is your desire to work kind of part-time in your later years. Maybe you're having a lot of fun and you want to continue to work full-time. But we do know carrying heavy stress and working an obscene amount of hours is usually not an indicator that you're succeeding in life. And we need to make sure that, you know, yes, being successful in business is great, but it cannot come at the expense of success outside of work. Yeah.
I mean, there are some guys that absolutely love working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, and they're like, I'm going to do this as long as I can. And kudos to them. I'm so happy for them, but that's not me. I want to go take some vacations. Don't you? I want to go. We just went to Italy. I want to go to Italy again.
I want to be you when I grow up and move and go to Europe.
Yeah. Well, the difference is my kids are older than your kids, and so you've got more kids stuff going on than I do.
Okay, fair enough. Although our youngest is it's kind of a weird week. My oldest, he's going to be a sophomore in college. He's doing student painters this summer. My daughter just walked in. She's house sitting for friends of ours, so she just came in to steal some food and leave again. Our littlest, who's 12, she's at camp this week, and then our 13-and-a-half-year-old is full teenager mode. Calvin, it's 11:21. He's sleeping still.
Still in bed.
He's leaning into that. So yes, all different stages.
Yes, my middle daughter, who is an infamous sleeper until 1 in the afternoon, is working a summer job where she has to roll out of bed at 7 in the morning. So I was sitting there drinking my coffee this morning, and she rolls out all bleary-eyed, and I'm like, yeah, welcome to being a grown-up.
Oh yeah.
Well, hey Kyle, to kind of wrap this up, why don't you leave the people with one kind of nugget of advice let's do one nugget of advice for kind of each category that I laid out there, a business owner. So the established guys who are looking to fine-tune systems, and then kind of the newer guys or the guys who are having some struggles. What's one good nugget of advice? And it can be the same for both, or it can be 2 different nuggets.
And gals, we know you're listening too. So guys and gals, we're using that synonymously.
Yeah, it's a genderless guys.
Oh, nice. Okay, gender. Okay, good. We could talk about gender and stuff, and that might get more views and stuff. We put that in the title.
Ooh,
did the Houston Astros cheat? And what are your thoughts on 2 genders versus more than 2 genders? Oh, the views are going up.
Stir that pot.
And then the start of it could say Trump's awesome, and then the end of it could say Trump's. We could get so many views, and people will be so confused.
Let's do it.
Okay. It's up to your producer. I have enjoyed this mightily because I'm usually doing the interview every week on my podcast, Remodelers on the Rise, and it's been a joy to be a guest and to just throw out ideas like this. So the piece of advice for the ones that are a little more established. What I would encourage you to do is to consider what you want your business to look like 3 years from now. Not 10 years. That's pretty blurry. 7 years, pretty blurry. 1 year, too close.
Too easy.
Yeah. What do you want it to look like 3 years from now? challenge, what do you personally as the owner want to be doing more of or less of? Is there any new team members that you foresee needing? Think through a little bit of your systems and what areas will really need to be improved and elevated to make it happen. Get really clear with your 3-year vision. When we put that in writing, when we get clear with that, the likelihood of us achieving that is so much more realistic. And by putting out there, I like the 3-year thing when I'm coaching because it gives enough space for you not to get super tactical with it, but it gives you enough runway to really kind of dream a little bit. So that's my piece of advice for them. And then identify kind of the next right thing. For the folks who are a little earlier in the process, my advice to you is to stop and go and just take a breath. And then take your hand and put it on your chin. Look out the window and do some thinking. Is this working? What am I struggling with? What do I need to do different? What have I been putting off that I know I need to take more seriously? But really take stock of where things are at and truly think about and feel, how is this going? That we just slow down a little bit and take stock of that. How is this business affecting my life, my health, my spouse, my kids? Like really think, oh, look at you, like a statue, like an Italian statue that you took 18 pictures of when you're over in Italy. Okay, then you can put your fist down. There we go. Come on back to me. And then once you do that, something is going to come out to you as kind of the next right thing to do. There's 20 things you need to do, but you need to identify the next right thing to do. That may be to reach out to that colleague of yours that you had a good lunch with and have another meeting with them. That may be to dig into your financials and you already know what you need to be doing there and do that. It may be a job cost report. It may be going to remodelers.com and reaching out and setting up a call with me to allow me to speak some feedback into your story and situation and offer some next steps. But identify the next right thing to do and really do it. Not half-heartedly do it, but really do it. You need to stack win after win, little thing after little thing. Running a successful remodeling business is not about finding some magic bullet. It's a combination of a lot of little things and a lot of improvements. So step back, take a good, honest look at how things are going. Ask your spouse or significant other, can you speak some truth to me a little bit? Be kind. Don't attack too much. But how's this business thing going? What are you seeing? Get some insight into that, and then identify that next right thing.
Or that next right step could be attending the Rise conference in Ann Arbor, Michigan, which is coming up soon.
Yes, indeed. Or coming up in 10 months, depending on when you're listening to this.
That's right. It could be, it could be next summer's. That's right. If you miss this one, which hopefully you won't miss this one. So, well, Kyle, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to join us on the podcast. I love talking to you. Got a lot of great insight, and I am just over the top excited about being a part of the peer groups with you, and excited for all the awesome companies that are in my group, and getting to know those guys here over the next few weeks for the first time.
Absolutely. And likewise, I'm excited for yes, your peer group members, but also for you. It's a fun experience to get to do some coaching and to get to know a group of folks, really well over the coming years. And I think when you talk about leadership, the stuff that you're going to learn even from leading the group and all these other examples will hopefully be very powerful, and a little side hustle for you. You get a little scratch for it too. So you might even get to go. To Europe again someday.
That might be my travel fund.
Ooh,
absolutely.
That's fun. This was fun. Thank you for the good questions and the good topics.
Yeah, thank you, Kyle. All right, so we will post links to Kyle's podcast, to Remodelers on the Rise website, to the Rise conference. We'll post all those links in the show notes on social media, so you can connect with Kyle and join one of the groups, come to the conference, whatever it is. Just get involved. So, thank you so much, Kyle, and thank you all for listening or watching the Your Project Shepherd podcast. I'll see you next time. Take care.